Hi there, my name's Jonathan. You should know that if you're seeing this link. So I've decided that probably the easiest way for me to share my updates is going to be on YouTube. So my plan is, and obviously that might change, is that when I have an update to make, I'll just make a little bloggy thing like this, or maybe Sasha will get involved and do something similar. But I'm just keeping this as a mechanism of doing that rather than posting stuff onto Facebook and having lots of people post up comments. I think it's going to be easier to do it like this. Anyway, so in case you didn't know already, or most of you should already know that anyway, on Thursday of this week, so we're now the 2nd, so on the 31st of July, I was diagnosed with cancer of the tonsil, so specifically the right side of my neck here. I don't know if you can see that, I have a nice big lump on the side of my neck, and that's the dude that's kind of back in at the end of May I noticed it and went to see the GP, and initially not too worried about it, but as time has gone by, it's become more worrying. So since then, I have had 2 biopsies of this little sucker. The first one actually came back as negative, and it was the second one that came back as positive that then sort of sparked us doing further research and further tests. So that one coming back as positive then meant I had CT scan, and I had what did I have? I had a PET scan on Tuesday of this week. I went and had a PET scan, which is where, if you don't know what a PET scan is, and I'll be honest, I didn't know what a PET scan was until I went to go and have one. Basically what they do is they starve you, or you fast for like 6 hours or so. You still drink water, but no food, and specifically no sugar, because what they do is they get a lead-lined syringe and they inject you with glucose, and the glucose has got a tracer on it which is radioactive. You're then left for sort of 50 minutes. By the way, no one wants to go anywhere near you after you've had that injection. You're like contaminated, or you're basically in a lead-lined box, sat in a room waiting for this to happen. So 50 minutes or so pass by, and then you're led through, sort of poked through into the CT scanner, and then they do a nice scan. And that scan, what it's identifying is where, and again I'll probably get corrected on this, is where glucose has been uptaken by the cancer cells in their activity of trying to grow. So they can identify specifically where the cancer has started, because this is just it's kind of a symptom of the fact that I've got a cancer. So they identified on Tuesday that it's in my right tonsil. They also saw a sort of a nodule in one of my lungs, but the general opinion of the doctors is that it has not spread to my lungs, which was a concern, and it has not affected my tongue or the rest of my mouth, so we're pretty happy with all of that. So it's just in the right tonsil. It is quite sore. So on Thursday I went to go and see my ENT, ear, nose and throat consultant, and he said I need to refer you to an oncologist now. And he took a biopsy of my tonsil. We sprayed it a few times with anaesthetic, which is pretty horrid. If anyone's had that, it's pretty horrid anyway. It didn't seem to really take very well, because when he went in there to go and try and take a bite, I felt every single part of it. It was very uncomfortable. And even today, which is, more than 24 hours later, it is sore. It's like I've got a very large ulcer at the back of my throat, and it made sort of just swallowing and drinking anything or eating anything Pretty painful experience to go. Actually, last night we went to go and see the oncologist, so it moved quite quickly. And he said, he gave us a big sort of a whole pile of information and data about what was going to happen. And ultimately, it's radiotherapy. There is the possibility of doing chemotherapy. Normally it would just be pretty cut and dry, it's chemotherapy. But because of the issues that I've got around my heart with the ICD, radiotherapy is already a risk. And then with my kidney condition as well, there's a risk there of the chemotherapy affecting my kidneys. So at the moment the sort of backup plan is definitely radiotherapy for 6 weeks. He said I'll feel okay for the first sort of week or so, but then after that it will then get quite tough. And even once the course is finished, for like 2 or 3 weeks afterwards, I'm going to feel pretty rubbish. So that's good. My mouth will dry up, so my saliva glands will stop working. So one thing they will also have to do is to put a feeding tube in that will allow me to get my nutrients without having to eat. We'll play that by ear, but it's likely sometime in the 3rd week I'll probably need to have that. The other thing they did today was also take an x-ray of my jaw, just to make sure my teeth were healthy. I will need special toothpaste following the radiotherapy that I'm going to have. And that's pretty much where we are. I've now had a radiation mask taken, and I've got a small tattoo on my chest so that everything's lined up. My oncologist is now going away and doing a whole pile of maths and modelling to work out the right way to give me my treatment. I had another CT scan with a dye this morning so that they can model that correctly using the mask. And so it's now just a bit of a waiting game. I'm going to see him again next Friday, and at that point we make a decision as to whether I'm going to have, or which type of chemotherapy I'm going to have, and when to start the radiation therapy. And that's pretty much where we are right now. That's it. So I'll give you another update once I know something more. Alright, take care. Toodaloo.